This is the Crystal Chronicles, your Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia podcast, with Erolai, Kreese, and Mark, bringing you all your DissidiaFFOO news and talk. Welcome to Season 4, the LGBT era. Now let's start the show.
Welcome everyone to episode 151 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded this May 6, 2021. We're so glad you're here joining us for all your DissidiaFFOO news and talk. Before I introduce my guest tonight, a couple bits. First of all, thank you to all the pre-show subs: Blartanian, CSAM gifting subs, Raw Life gifting subs, Daniel gifting subs, Blartanian gifting subs. We really appreciate all your support, and we love our community. Regardless of what I said about the French in the pre-show, we love you all and are so glad you are here. Speaking of not being here, Kreese is taking the week off. Kreese was kind of swamped these last few days, so really wasn't able to get to the content. But don't worry, we have we have a special guest and a premium guest. Our special guest, well, let me tell you about our other co-host, who is here, and that's Arrow. Arrow, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. This is hopefully my last week of working 50-hour work weeks for my temp job. But, I'm hoping to be done with it soon. But I am enjoying the money in the meantime. But I want my life back at the same time. Anyway, back to you, Mark.
Yes, CSAM, may be dropping in for sure. We talked a little bit before the show, so. But we're also joined by the TCC intern, PoteauCedar. Cedar, how you doing?
I'm doing really well, Mark. Thank you for asking.
Well, we're glad you're here.
You are to have a lot of fun tonight.
You are. You're still a special guest. This is, I think, only the second time you've been officially on the podcast. Although Cedar's always working behind the scenes, doing intern stuff. Taking out the garbage and getting people coffee. Doing Arrow's dry cleaning. Things interns have to do. So. We appreciate that. And we're also joined by our premium guest. You know him and love him.
Needs no introduction.
Yeah, needs no introduction. Let's get to the news of the day. No, it's Necklord. Neck, how you doing?
I'm doing good. One of the reasons I'm actually awake right now is the UK have just had their council and regional authority elections, so the fallout of those is happening right now. So I'm like half watching that. Sorry, but I'm here. I'm ready to talk DissidiaFFOO. Plenty of things to go over as well.
Yeah, there's politics in the background, DissidiaFFOO in the foreground. That's how we roll. That's how we do life. Now, last week, Jin Lee, the notorious Jin Lee, challenged the Crystal Chronicles community to sub 77 subs. Actually, we said 150, but 77 seemed better. 77 subs for me to pity 7 on stream when 7 is available. So, if you would like to add to that, I think we have a couple weeks before 7 is available. 7 comes out next week, I guess. So you have this week and next week to come on, and by the end of stream next week, if we have 77 subs, I will pity 7. Arguably the most worthless LD in the game, except maybe Fujin, but you have to admit, even Fujin's call is a lot better than 7. So, and I do mean gem pity, and I've not been using gems, and you all know how that's been going. Excellent. Thank you. So, shout out to Jin Lee, our friend and fellow content creator, even though he is on the competing quasi podcast. It's not a podcast. You can't listen to it on your podcast app, but it is the fireside chat with our friends Lid and Resfoina and 40 the Broadway Saying and Jin Lee. They do that once a month, and I do encourage you to check that out. It is a good time. Just don't sub to it or support it in financial ways. Do that for us. We appreciate that. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Well, for the news of the day, there's not a whole lot of news. Belthier, did I write that incorrectly? Belthier, in the we actually have an outline for a little behind the scenes, a little TCC behind the scenes. We actually have an outline that is a Google Doc, and we share that with everybody so we kind of know what we're talking about. And so I have Belthier, Balthir. I wrote that. I don't know who that is, but it is. He got a little in-game text change. And so if you were really concerned that the in-game text, when you actually like hold down and see what the ability does, like anybody does that. Does anybody do that? No one does that. One of them was wrong. Surprise. That's why none of us do that. We just looked at the infographics because that has correct information. Generally speaking, every once in a while they miss something up, but 99% of the time they have it right. And Retro Gamer Dad does it. Somebody likes to read in the game. Yes, next time Retro Gamer Dad's going to tell me that he looks at the boss descriptions before he gets into a fight. This is how we nerds.
Yeah, I'd say there was a devastating part of this when I first read the notice, because I was like, oh cool, Balthir's getting a small change, because I don't know, cast your memory back a few months, is it?
Yeah,
probably months.
Yeah,
I was lamenting the state of his whistle in DissidiaFFOO for Tides of Fate, because it's such a god tier whistle in the base game. In other games he cameos in, World of Final Fantasy, for example, the whistle is identical to the 12 version. But in this one, it's just this weak-ass, high-pitched bit of fluff. It's just pathetic. And so I saw, small little bit about Balthir. I was like, holy shit, have they actually done this? And then it's like, oh no, we just corrected something that no one reads anyway. So
yep.
Yeah, so there we are. So I was hit me in the heart. That was piercing.
Yeah. So hopefully you all are sleeping better at night knowing that the in-game text is correct. And if you missed Kane's... I forgot how you pronounce that. King Piccolo costume, Namekian. I'm like, I wrote that. Completely forgot how it was going to be a great joke that I just completely screwed up. Speaking of jokes, my kids are doing this countdown to the end of school, so every day they have a letter, and today was J, so they go from A to Z. Today was J, so they had to bring a joke. So we were like before school trying to figure out jokes for them. So my one son this is the joke he brought: why does the lion cross the road? To get to the other pride. Good Inkwelder pun right there. My other son's like, what is a statue in a Star Wars gift shop called? Mannequin Skywalker. Hilarious. But we did come across one that I thought was hilarious. Maybe just me. But how do you know that Taylor Swift is a Marvel fan? Anybody? No? Because all of her songs are about X-Men.
That's
pretty good.
Come on, that's hilarious.
Oh, that's great.
I thought it was going to touch on the fact that they love to reboot just specifically Spider-Man, but yeah.
I mean,
lots of costume changes.
And Taylor Swift rebooted her career from being a country singer to a pop star. Yeah. Great job.
So Kane's Namekian costume, that's the joke I was going for, is on sale if you haven't gotten it. And if you don't know the joke, I think his costume looks like King Piccolo, because the After Years is basically just Dragon Ball Z. And that's it. No more news. No more new costumes. No Yuffie. I have the little teaser of Yuffie's costume in there. Can't wait for that. That's a great looking costume. Love the Advent Children costumes. But not a lot of news. That brings us to events. And the first... What the hell is wrong with my spelling today? I just looked on the slide online. Oh, Hot Tub Stream 1. Yes, thank you, Cyndaquil, for the biddies. Amidate, lion. That's literally what it says. If you all can't see the slide on stream, I have Amidate, space, capital L, lion, lost chapter. I don't know who HaateXIII is, but it's their lost chapter. HaateXIII, that's how you pronounce that. HaateXIII's lost chapter. HaateXIII comes back with an LD board rework. Deuce gets a new LD. Remember, is this the first? Is this the first 2 LD lost chapter? Correct.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So for all you who are posting stuff on Reddit or crying on Discord, remember that moving forward, the Lufanias, etc., will not tailor themselves to the character that we've already had or the feature character on the lost chapter, but they will do it for the new LD. So Deuce is the new LD, and that is why the orb for the fight that we'll talk about in a minute is tailored to her, not to HaateXIII or HaateXIII, however you would like to pronounce that. It is HaateXIII. That is the actual pronunciation. You can go check that on the videos. That's how you say it. But let's talk about HaateXIII, because a lot of us got HaateXIII back in the very first BT cycle of the LDBT era, Squall's BT cycle. HaateXIII did not get a whole bunch with their board reworks. Obviously did get level 80, so now they have call, and their LD is available as a call. So a instant delete, 2 delete turns, or a delete turns of all enemies as a call. Great call. No question about that. Really nice call. No effect, which is sad, and Comet is the L1 call, so that's not super awesome. I think it does give turn rate down, which is nice. But other than that, and yeah, I guess if you're HaateXIII is fully limit broke, they'll come in with some debuffs when you use the regular call. But a free delete is really nice, that's for sure. What they got in terms of LD board rework was they now start with their LD buff, which is called Resurrection, right? Yeah, that is the LD buff. It is up to 15 turns. I think it maybe was 12 turns originally. I think they start with 6 turns. And so at the beginning of the fight, you don't have to press the LD immediately to have that buff. It starts with 6 turns. You can do 6 turns of whatever, build up an EX charge. And then the next time you hit it, it is 15 turns. So that buff's not going to fall off. You have plenty of time, 51 turns of that. But that's pretty much it. So that's pretty much all HaateXIII needed. That's all they got. They're not super overpowered, but they are the only character right now that deletes turns. So LD's deleting turns, Skill 2's deleting turns. There you go. Arrow, any thoughts on HaateXIII?
I actually did ticket this banner. I did not get Deuce, but I did get HaateXIII. I did not have either of these characters, so it is new for me. She's fine. I mean, the bigger thing here is that she got level 80, guys, because now she has access to other people's calls, and she's still doing all the things we already knew HaateXIII did. She got a little bit more damage, but you weren't ever bringing her really for her damage. But hey, I mean, it's a great call effect, so to me, it was an okay consolation prize, honestly. I will probably be using it for Transcendence Tier 2. I know I'm going to find uses for it. So, great. I don't really have much else to say.
Daniel is clarifying. A couple of people are clarifying. Ultimisha's BT also deletes the effect of that. Her BT effect deletes turns as well. HaateXIII is the only character that does that on skills and as an LD. So,
yeah, BT would be premium turn deletion.
That's a premium delete. I'm just talking about your run-of-the-mill delete. Necklord, any thoughts on HaateXIII?
That's what. Well, irony seems to be a central theme today because it's kind of strange that the buff is called Resurrection because this rework has done nothing to revive her prospects of sitting in your team. To be fair to her, she will be the best unit you never use in the sense of you're not putting her in the party, but great call. Turn rate down's actually I'd say it's an underrated debuff.
Yeah,
it does actually have, because some bosses like to mess around with that kind of stuff with like high turn rate shit. So that's useful. And deleting turns is really good. The slight issue, of course, is the framed debuff spam. But you can just unequip the X plus passive, or just if you didn't pull it, it's not even a big deal because you're not causing debuff issues when you use her as a call. Granted, the call itself will hit less because stat padding and stuff, but yeah, good call. There we are.
Yeah,
Deuce I did not get, but that's coming next. So.
Yeah, CSAM is just sharing what you said in terms of you can remove some of those passives, the EX, and not have those buffs jump on when a Emotes comes into play. That was helpful. Yeah, what's the point of turn rate down when people just no boss turn everything? Yeah, that's a good point. Not going to be very useful. So yeah, you can make it so Emotes does not bring the debuffs on as a call. So that may be something to think about. Much like Yuffie, because my Yuffie was designed to do farming. So when I brought my Yuffie to this Lufania, she only had skill 2 equipped. And nothing else. And I'm like, oh, this is crap, but I didn't reset, because why would I? Yeah, so you can mess around with your characters, because, yeah, likely a Emotes may not be in your party. Cedar, any thoughts on a Emotes?
I mean, like, back in the day, they were such a prime friend unit. And they could still be a pretty decent friend unit nowadays, but there's just so many better ones out there. It is important to know that when you do use them as a call, that those forward frame debuffs are going to go on, so that might ruin your run. It's just something, if that's how you want to play it, it could be a good playstyle for you.
Yeah, it's actually not a bad idea to just remove the weapon. Yeah, you have to unequip the EX, CSAM is saying. And so, yeah, not a bad idea just to, and that's another reason to save your LDs, people. I'm just throwing it out there. Another reason to save your LDs, because you never know when you might need to unequip your purple EXs for calls. Yeah, why bring a Emotes friend when you can bring Ultimecia friend? Yeah, that was probably a better idea, to bring Ultimecia friend than a Emotes friend. Why bring a Emotes friend when you can just do 10 billion damage with some of these other upcoming friend units? Hoarding is a disease. I don't think so. It's never gone wrong for anybody, has it? We've talked about that before. Well, let's talk about Deuce. Am I talking about Deuce? I pulled on Deuce. Why did I pull on Deuce? Don't someone remind me. Did someone pay me money to do? I'm not really sure why I pulled on any of these banners. I told people not to pull on this banner. I told people Deuce was garbage. I'm not sure that she's garbage. She's not garbage. I mean, I pulled Deuce for that BT. That's right. Yeah, I wanted that because I'm an addict. J.A's here, one of our moderators, wonderful moderator. Yeah, I have a problem, and that's okay. So if you're not familiar with Deuce, she plays the flute, which is really great in battle. They used to do that like in the Revolutionary War. The British, they had like their little drummers and their buglers, and then we killed them. And probably not a great strategy to go to war with instruments, folks. Seriously. War is dirty and ugly, and that's why we wear tactical gear now. We don't dress up like the British Army and play songs. This is not like tea. We just, it's down and dirty. But no, Deuce tries to, she's wearing a uniform, and she's playing the music, and there's, because I never play with the music on, so I did today, and yeah, they all have little things, little musical things. Just a moment of personal information. I'm a clarinetist. I actually went to college on a clarinet scholarship. I know I'm super cool. I hate flautists, generally. So it's just as, just like werewolves and vampires, mortal enemies, thousands of years old, clarinets and flutes just never get along. But anyway, so if you're not familiar with Deuce, she is a magic damage dealer support. Why do I say that? Because she buffs magic damage. She buffs magic brave damage now, and she buffs magic attack. So that's her thing. Now she does a little bit of battery, and now she heals, and so she's more useful than she was, because pretty much before she was hot garbage. But I just wish I had a flute in band camp. Yeah, I never went to band camp. Thankfully, we did have marching camp every summer, but that was a little different. Yeah, thankfully didn't have to go to do that. She gets an LD. She doesn't get a rework. She gets an LD, and it's called Hymn of Healing. It heals the party, and it's a pretty good burst heal, which is nice, although she only gets 3 uses of it. She batteries the party, which she does pretty consistently. Does a big attack, and gives her a free ability use, so you can do Concerto a couple more times to give everybody note. But it gives her this overhead buff for 12 turns called Hymn of Healing. And she starts, if you have your LD fully limit broke, she starts with it, which is nice, 6 turns at start. And it does something really cool. So one of my issues with, like, one of the ironies with Deuce was, she gives a lot of buffs to people, and so that can be an issue. And, the main magic damage dealer we have right now is Terra. And what does Terra do? Burn through buffs. But what do they give her, Deuce, to deal with that? Well, all of the buffs that she grants get +3 turns. So Note, which normally is, and her Max Brave Up, which are normally 8 turns, are now 11 turns. So actually she's giving great longevity in terms of the buffs she is giving. But her overhead buff does more than that. It gives additional party attack. It gives magic brave damage +30%. It gives overflow, and it gives HP damage up and HP regen. So that, along with her other auras, make her a really good aura bot. Great attack up, great max magic attack up, max brave up, magic brave damage up, eye brave up, speed up, overflow gained, overflow stolen, HP damage up, brave HP regen, she has burst healing and HP regen. So she's doing a lot for the party. I'll come back to, because I do have her. I've been using her because I never really used her too much before. So I'll give you a little bit of my personal experience. But Arrow, any thoughts on Deuce?
Great magic buffer. I mean, hey, come on. I know there's more than just Terra, guys. We have Ultimecia, who would love this character. We have Emperor, who, doesn't mind having these kinds of buffs. Who else do we have coming up? Do we have any magic damage dealers that are big coming up? Probably, but I can't think of any right offhand. My mind's a little gone right now. But I think she's okay. But I think depending on your roster, you may not need her either. It's just one of those things where if you've been passing on HP regen healers, which there's a zillion of, or you just, you really, really, really love magic damage that much. Oh, thank you.
Golbez, yeah.
To Shaded Mystic for Golbez. Yes, that would be another character that would like this character, that would like Deuce. Deuce is just the ultimate magic support or a support character. If you're into that, pull for it, but otherwise, I don't know. It's just kind of hard for me to really super recommend this character. But if you are a newer player, this character is fine. She will help you through some of the older content. The buffs are very useful. Deuce was very good, when she first was released, and then I guess she feels a little bit better now than when she got her EX Plus. That's for sure. So it just depends. I think the other new character is a much better Swiss Army knife utility character, though, and I'm sure we'll be talking about that soon. And I think that character for newer players is far more useful. But those are my thoughts. I guess we'll pass it over to one of our guests. I'll go with Necklord.
Well, I've skipped out on her because I just went all in on Terra in her first banner because I just don't really have an interest in either of the follow-up banners or whatever. So yeah, but credit where it's due. Like as much as there's that magic attack 30% aura, the rest of her auras are still solid for like bringing anyone with her. Some nice bit of overflow stolen, overflow gained, which is it's like underrated. That you don't really notice it as a thing, but it's quite good for like battery heavy stuff. But yeah, it's nothing special. Like in terms of like what the kit is. but big auras are always good, and this is one of the reasons that we shield Sarah so much, even though it had quite a modest base kit and X. But just because those good auras are there, that it's sometimes it is simply worthy for that reason alone. And I suppose the other thing with Deuce, very unique to her, is that for a few seconds, because she's playing the flute when you're doing an attack, you can drown out that massive explosion playing in the background on like 90% of quests, which is great. Because any opportunity to drown that out, that's fantastic. So that's only bursts can do that if you think about it. So this is
it's very unique. And for some reason her flute sounds like the Ocarina of Time. So I'm not really sure why that is, but so it goes. Cedar, any thoughts on Deuce?
For Deuce, I've never really had a lot of experience with her. I gave the banner 60 tickets and had to walk away. Happily, I had to walk away with Terra BT, so that was good. But she's just an amazing unit for beginners, and this whole cycle is just really geared towards new players. Ironically enough, this is probably the cycle they should have given us free multi-polls on to incentivize new players to pull. But what you gonna do?
Yeah,
that's all really what I have to say.
Soraya the Ranger is saying that someone did a evaluation of Deuce on Reddit. I do not know the Redditor. If someone wants to share that in chat with us, if you remember who the Redditor was, it was not somebody I knew. But they did a like a doctrinal thesis on Deuce. I mean, if you printed it out, it was like 15 pages. I'm sure it was very, very long. I certainly didn't read it all because I had I have things to do. And I don't think any character in this game is worth that much. But props to someone really taking the time to expound on Deuce. So there's nothing wrong with Deuce. As Arrow said, if you're a newer player, actually, this is not a bad banner. If you just start this month and your options are TerraCycle and the Start Dash campaign, this, Terra, picking up Terra in her burst, picking up Emotes and Deuce, not bad options. That team will get you through Terra, Emotes and Deuce. That'll get you through a lot of content. Catching up. Moving forward, maybe not so much. But, Deuce does provide a lot. She's really maybe the only new healer we're going to get for a while. I mean, we don't really get a new healer since, like, Iroha is a healer, right? So it's going to be a while.
And Mog, they're healers.
Mog heals? Really?
Yes, Mog heals along with Ignis.
Is it?
Yes.
Is it?
Yeah.
Is it on Mog's EX? Because I've never seen Mog's EX.
He has like an HP regen. It's okay.
Oh, it is HP regen. That's right.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
Iggy heals. Yes, I understand. He's not new
heals.
though, but he does get a new LD. You're correct.
Ignis will be back soon with LD, and he also does heal, and he has an HP regen on one of the stances, not the other, but it's there. So.
Yes, thank you. I am wrong. There's all kinds of healers, so don't. So that's not a good reason to pull on Deuce. What are some other not good reasons to pull on Deuce? She didn't get a rework, and going that's not terrible. Doesn't mean her skills are bad. The problem with her skills is skill 1. Concerto does not. It's concerto. I think I said last time concerto. I did go to college on a music scholarship, but obviously I didn't learn very much. Concerto, which is her skill 1, doesn't do any damage. So that's a turn you've spent not doing any damage. And then skill 2 only does single target damage. So it does AoE brave hits and then single target HP, I believe. It does not do split damage. From looking at the infographic, TonberryTroupe.com for all the beautiful infographics. Let me make sure we shout them out. It looks as if it's a AoE HP attack, but it is just single target damage. And so that can really, really suck. There's no splash or anything. So her skills do not feel good to press. Her EX and her LD are fine, but my problem, if you have all of the characters, right, are you going to choose Deuce over Aerith? Are you going to choose Deuce over Sarah? Are you going to choose Deuce over Ignis? Are you going to choose Deuce over Mog? Etc. I mean, she covers healing, support, battery, but there are other characters, Y'shtola we just had. So, yeah, Mog has heals. Yeah, interesting. I literally have not seen Mog's EX. I have his full kit. I've literally never pressed the EX button. It's never been charged. So that's how much use. I just went through all of the current content with Mog, never used his EX. So not even sure what it does. 19 ball. Thank you, C-Sam. Post on Reddit is linked in the thing. So take a good read on that. I don't know if it's good because I didn't read it all, and I don't like to comment on things whether they're good or not unless I've read them. So,
I'm just gonna say, you have to be a very talented writer to maintain an interest in a topic that niche for 6,000 plus words.
Pikachu Games, thank you. Yeah, TonberryTroupe.com often has good information about these characters, and but we haven't yet talked about Mog. He's coming up, and Cedar's going to talk about Mog for us in a little bit. So I'll learn with you what Mog does, even though I've been playing with him all day. Still have no idea what he does. I believe I said that in my poll video. What's Mog do? I have no idea. He's fluffy, so soft. We're going to talk about that too, but. I wouldn't go out of my way to pull on Deuce. Maybe you like her. Maybe you like the flute. I'm not sure. She's not terrible, but I don't think she's great. And so that's my opinion. I have her. I fully limit broke her, all that kind of crap. So it goes. Let's look at the podcast polls to see how you felt about this. I'm going to think maybe you're backing me up on this, Banner. Yeah, 14 people were willing to pity her LD. There's 14 liars among you. Okay. 6 people willing to use gems, 94 using tickets, and 139 skipping. Sounds about right. Were 14 people willing to pity the LD because they're still chasing Terrace Burst? Could be. Not really sure. Music scholarship. All right, Mark say. I didn't say I was a music major. I just said I got a music scholarship. I just had to play. I had to show up. I had to play in orchestra. I had to play in symphonic band. I sang in the choir. Toured Europe. Second chair or clarinet. Private lessons. Had to do, play, all those kind of things. Didn't have to learn anything. Didn't say I was good at it. So... yeah, I am not a music theory person at all. Concerto. Oh, it's been a long day. Let me tell you. There were only 2 clarinets in our orchestra, so I was second chair. Premium concerto. Concerto's that's like a drug that you take for ADHD, right? Concerto. Oh, talk to your doctor. Are you feeling constipated? Talk to your doctor about concerto. That does sound good.
Plenty of side effects may include.
Do you have a flute up your ass? Talk to your doctor about concerto. So what else was I going to talk about? I have a reason for this. Hey, I thought the story of this lost chapter was kind of nice. I don't know. So we had talked about transitioning. We had talked about there's obviously the entire dev team from the Crystal Bears, the Crystal Chronicles, the Crystal Bears, Crystal Chronicles 4, the Crystal Bears, technically. The entire dev team must work on this because we're always hyping up. They're always hyping up this. We got 4 characters from the Crystal Bears. You got Lael, of course, he's the protagonist. You got Emotes. You have Kais, and you have Jurgen's baby So Soft, whatever. He's coming soon here as the villain. No Bella someday. Hashtag Bella when. That being said, I don't think in the Defo story, Lael's character has been fleshed out real well. Hey, I'm Lael and I wear a tuxedo. He's the guy that wears a tuxedo. That's all I know about Lael from playing Defo. And then there's Kais. He's like, I'm a Selkie, whatever the hell that means. And I like Lael. I mean, that's literally the entire character development of Lael and Kais. Yet Emotes has is so... layers upon layers upon layers of character and very touching scenes here in this lost chapter, like introspective stuff, right? So my new theory is it's not the entire dev team from the Crystal Bearers. It is literally the person who created a Metatilion works for Defo. And it's like a Metatilion was like their legacy. Like, I shall be known because I created this character for you all. And so now they have come to Defo and they are sharing this for us. Thankfully, they don't work on the mechanical side, so they didn't get to be involved in the LD board rework. So, no one's going to use a Metatilion ever again. But they did get to work on the story, and so we got that. But I thought it was nice. Any other thoughts, Arrow, on this Lost Chapter story?
I liked it the first time around, and I know nothing about Crystal Bearers. But what I want to know most of all is, when is this Crystal Bearers remake happening, and why hasn't it been announced yet?
Never.
I mean, seriously, with as much love as Crystal Bearers has gotten in this game, I'm very shocked that nothing has been announced. I mean, like, Kieran got into this game purely because of marketing. So where is my Crystal Bearers remake? Because I refuse to play on crappy Wii controls for this game, because I know they have them, and that was a big turnoff even when I remember the game being new, and it is why I did not purchase it when it was a new, because I like Crystal Chronicles as a whole, and I did not buy it because I did not want to deal with those crappy Wii controls. Not for me. But I like this story chapter. I love the little scene where Realm's painting, they talk about Realm painting painting their portrait, and like all the other people just kind of like commenting about things. I don't know. It was just a nice, sweet Lost chapter. Thank God for that, because I ain't going to have much good to say when we get to the other story bits today that we're going to talk about. Anyway, that's it, Mark. Does anyone else want to comment about this Lost chapter?
No, I skipped it all.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Necklord, I know you don't you don't read any of the stories. So, Cedar, do you have any? Necklord,
No.
did you want to make up something about what you felt about the story?
Well, I'll fact check a little thing you said there, because I do actually watch some cutscenes. If I know what the cast is and I'm like vaguely interested, like in the games and stuff, I will occasionally like start watching one, and if I get bored, skip it. But then, like, after the first half of this chapter that came out, not the last chapter, my policy now is just skip everything. Just everything.
Yeah, just skip everything. I think that's a good policy. Hey, we did have trying to open my ginger ale. It's not working real well for me. Nothing's working real well for me. Welcome to the podcast. We did have a Lufanian. You can always go to our friend Macnell at DissidiaFFOO.com for his most recent quick guides. And there's also a Lufania overview on TonberryTroupe.com. So in the Uke Cometh, you fight some things. What do we fight? We fight these, what are they? What are they called in this one? Oh,
Bags.
Yeah, bag slugs. Yeah, that's right. Thank you. But the bag slugs. And they're little nasty things. Their Lufania orb has changed since the last time we fought them. They appear at the start of the wave, disappear at 29%. When it is increased by 3 when you recover HP through a regen effect, like Deuce, like about 1,000 other characters in the game. So you need somebody with regen or somebody with a sea sphere who can trigger that, all that other kind of things. They have two main... This is a pretty straightforward fight. They have two main gimmicks. The first is besides the Lufania orb, of course. The first is called In Case. They either self-target themselves or automatically after they use an all attack, or if you take a whole bunch of turns, they will go into their shell. Battery, physical brave damage, and resist defense up. That is canceled when you break them. They usually gain a whole bunch of brave, get very hard to break. So obviously, if you bring instant break, if you bring gravity, a Metatilion does gravity, so there is some shout out to them in this fight. Magical brave shaving does the work as well, since it's heavy physical brave damage resist and defense up. magic brave damage will be fine. So lots of, obviously, Terra, Deuce, and Emotes all work really well there. So the second is Mucus Space and Mucus Space Plus. They do that after they target themselves or automatically at 79% of their health or 49% of their health. The plus version is done as an enrage. So when one is done, it's a field effect. It cannot be dispelled. It's super annoying. And it's the same defect that they had the last time around. Delays all allies by 1 turn. 2 if you have killed one and left the other one alive. After every action they take. So if you hit Terra's LD and are expecting to get a whole bunch of turns, you'll find that she gets delayed a turn. Or if you use an AA, you'll get delayed a turn. So the best way to do that is to delete turns or to take characters that have, like Terra, lots of turns and don't have to worry about that. Now, it's not such a big deal in Summon and in Burst phase, but it can be a big deal in, in team comps where you're not used to being delayed like that. I brought full synergy, Deuce, Emotes, and Sarah, and it was not difficult at all. So, Arrow, what did you do? Because I'm sure you didn't bring full synergy.
No, not at all. I used calls for my regions. I brought Trey, Waka, and Kryle, and my calls I used were on Penelo on Trey and Freya on Kryle, because Waka's really fast, so no, thank you on that. But so basically the goal is, if you're going to do this method, is that you want to get the enemies to, 50-ish% off those AA calls, and then just like I threw out an Emperor friend and like went and let them have turns and everything. And I somehow got them to under 30% when like the orb will finally disappear, and I was clear. And from there, he's basically just lock them down from basically doing anything. Trey just absolutely demolishes this fight. Waka's LD effects, doesn't matter which one you get, they're all amazing on this fight. Kryle is there to enchant the long range guys because they're super mega resisted otherwise. What do I think of this fight? It's still pretty toxic, but I felt like it was less problematic compared to the chaos when we got this event. I hated this chaos last year so much. Like I think it was like the chaos I hated the most after Trey's, and it just came right after, and I'm like, I hate this thing just as much, So the Lufenia, I think what helps here this time around, and the big difference between this time and the last time, is we have a lot more off-turn damage options and like ways to kind of I guess deal damage to these guys, especially when they're in the encase mode, because we have a lot more like brave damage reduction buffs and things of that nature to get around the high defense gains they have. It really made a difference. And just having ways to shut down the bosses than I remember before, it really helped. I felt like this fight, though annoying, is very, very manageable and a lot of methods, and I appreciate that because, man, Trey's last chapter 2.0 was just as horrible as the first time around, so I'm okay with this one being a little easier. I will go to Necklord again.
I actually did it like a couple of hours before the show started. I'm a little bit behind on content. I'll be honest, but I was just baffled because I brought Gladio, right? Because I just thought, delays happen. They're going to get a lot of turns. They'll throw HP attacks out here and there, and Gladio will be great for that. And they just didn't. I'm not sure why, but like literally all their attacks were just brave only. For some strange reason, which makes it even more curious that the orb condition is HP regen. Because what the fuck's the point? Like, why do you have HP regen as this like defining component to the fight if they're not even putting any HP pressure on you? To be fair, I was just like brave shaving the shit out of them with Terra, so that's probably why they weren't really ever in a position to HP attack because they had no brave to dump. Was it Sarah in the third slot? The poison was also bringing that down in the event Terra wasn't enough. So maybe that was why, I don't know. Full meta is just makes the game brain dead, doesn't it? So yeah, super fun. Gladio's great. I bet you great. Anyone that skipped him, I'm sure you're regretting it now. Sucks to be you, I guess. But
you can just pull Deuce and you'll be fine.
Yeah, you can just pull Deuce. Fantastic.
Eldnarsh destroyed the slugs, Pikachu says.
Yeah, they don't resist terror, do they?
No, they
so
do.
I'm trying to, how does that work then with because the free turn's unique. It's like a realm free turn, right? So if you take it and you get hit with delay, does that delay your actual turn or?
That I don't know. That's a great question. I don't know if Mino or Pikachu, anyone who used Eldnarsh, can let us know how Eldnarsh and Realm, their free turn, interacts with the slugs. That'd be interesting. It delays the actual turn, not the free turn. Oh, very interesting.
Oof.
Very interesting. Yeah, that could be annoying. So, dance with the next person. Cedar, how did you approach this?
So my team was Gladio, Celeste, and Trey. And the big problem with that team right away is the debuff management. Trey has 2, Gladio has 2, and Celeste has 3 debuffs. So I had a pretty hard time to keep the Imperil on at all times. And I had to keep remembering, okay, Runic has to stay on, or Trey's just gonna just attack with noodles. Like it'd be pathetic. But with that team, it was so much fun just to have his fatal arrow trap on, and anytime that the slugs would encase themselves, a trap would go off and they'd immediately come out. So with that team, I didn't really see like the brave damage reduction at all.
Well, apparently there were about 1,000 different ways to do this one, and there will be for the next one as well. And that's kind of the era that we are in. There will be a few tricky ones here and there, but there are many different ways to come at this. And so, yeah, you can go fast turns with Terra and Lightning and that kind of thing. You can do delete turns and delay. You can do off-turn damage. You can do counterattacks. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to approach this. And then shout out to DD-Rocks13 for working up on that DissidiaFFOO quick guide as well. And if you have an interesting run that we didn't share, make sure you put it on the call to arms so other people can say it. And again, if you're struggling, DissidiaFFOO.com has all the call to arms runs, and you can come on to our Discord, TCCPodcast.com, and there will be people that are willing to help you. I think that's it with the Lost Chapters. Lost Chapters are, no co-ops or anything else like that. So we go to the second part of Act 3, Chapter 2, which is called Part 2, and we get a new character. Woohoo! So not a new character event, a new character via chapter. And that new character is everyone's favorite Moogle, Final Fantasy VI's Mog. So I believe the TCC intern is going to take us through what the hell Mog does, because obviously I have no idea, even though I've been using Mog all day. So Cedar, would you quickly run us through who is Mog and what does Mog do?
Yeah, for sure. Mog is a character from Final Fantasy VI. He is a blue crystal spear user. He is classified as a Dragoon class, so I'm sure Mino loves that. Mog does a little bit of everything. He batteries, he heals, he cleanses, he has tons of support. His S1 is jump and serial jump. His regular jump is just a 4-hit brave water attack plus an HP dump. And after using jump the first time, it upgrades to serial jump, which is just a big 60% brave gain plus an HP dump, followed by the regular jump, which is another 4 brave hit plus HP damage. Once serial jump is done, it reverts back to regular jump. His S2 is Water Harmony. It batteries the party, and it has pretty decent overflows, and it does a 4-hit AoE Brave plus split HP attack, and it grants him the Water Harmony buff for 8 turns. I forgot to mention it, but the jump and serial jump also give him the Dragon's Horn buff for 12 turns. The good thing about the Water Harmony buff, is that activates his follow-up attack. What's special about it is it's conditional if the party has any debuffs on them. If the party has any debuff on them, it'll be El Nino, which will remove 2 buffs from each party member, followed by a Brave Battery and a 3-hit Brave AoE plus a single target HP attack. If there are no debuffs on the party, it'll just be the same thing, except it won't remove any debuffs, and there's a 30% chance that the target will get confused. And the only other thing to note is El Nino is only a water elemental attack versus the other one, Plasma Plus, is a thunder and water follow-up. Next, let's talk about his EX. So his EX ability is Moogle Rush. It's, to my experience, a pretty slow charging EX.
Yeah, that's an understatement. I think that's
so.
It's a very it says normal on the infographic, TonberryTroupe.com, but I think that's a filthy lie. So go ahead.
So the battery parties the party, and then he follows it up with a 10-hit AoE Brave attack plus a full HP. I feel like, just personally, 10 hits, I would have rather 2 HP dumps in that EX ability. I feel like he's always going to be capping. But hopefully they'll rework that along the lines. So the big thing about Mog is his LD. It is the super cute Moogle March. It is his big move where you'll see Moogles just marching and attacking the target, and it's a whole bunch of HP dumps. It's 3 single target Brave plus split HP attacks executed 4 times, and it alternates between targets. And after you use the LD skill, there's also going to be a freeze ability use after it. And I would note to say too that when you fully realize the EX weapon, fully limit break it, you're also going to start off with a free skill use at the start of the quest. And that gives him his overhead buff called Water Harmony. It unfortunately only enchants Mog with the water element. It does give the party a Brave regen, it gives the party HP regen, it slows down the enemy by 10%, it gives more overflow. So he really is like a jack of all trades. He does a lot of different things. I personally feel like his damage is a little bit on the weaker side compared to what we have right now. But I'm enjoying him personally.
Thank you, Cedar. Yeah. Now that I realize, I mean, it's hard to realize that a character heals when you don't take any damage ever. So now that I realize he does heal and does have HP regen and burst healing on his LD, I'm even less sure why anyone would want Deuce. So, Arrow, what do you think about Fluffy Mog?
He is A, adorable. B, if you are a newer player, this guy is the pity-worthy character, I think, that you should pair with a lot of your other characters you're going to be pulling in the future. Mog has all the tools needed just about to get you through some of the most awful fights in Chaos for newer players, and all the some of the stupider fights even in like Lufinia we've had so far. Having Dispel's huge, guys. There are certain fights without it you can't win it. There are certain fights where it doesn't really make a difference, but it's still nice to have. Then on top of all that, this guy doesn't need, he doesn't take up any of the other characters' buff slots. That's huge. Like, especially if you're trying to play certain other characters like, I don't know, Deuce, if you happen to pick her up, or Panello, or just any other number of those kinds of characters. Ramza kind of takes up a couple of slots, I think, still. Those kinds of things. So it's like, for me, if you need a Swiss Army knife second character, like a second character slot person, Mog is really good at it. Like, yeah, his damage is a little low compared to maybe some other second slot characters, but he makes up far more than enough with the utility he packs. Oh yeah, that confused thing. If you want to try and rely on it, you could maybe get through something even like what's his name, Camlonauts, freaking Lufenia, maybe with somebody else who can also paralyze. You might be able, like get a friend unit or something, and you might be able to get through that one too. It's just a lot of crazy stuff that you could potentially do with this character to help you get through certain fights that we did find problematic when they were first released, and will definitely still trip up newer players now. So veterans, though, I mean, he's adorable. So, I mean, for some of us, that's more than enough reason to pull. I didn't, because I'm saving my gems for the Ignis, and because my luck had been to be so good last month, I'm gonna splurge on something fun here, and I picked Ignis as that choice over Mog. But do you need this character if you're a veteran? That's harder to answer. It really depends on how many other characters you've pulled, but the utility cannot be denied. Having the good or the decent auras, being able to self-enchant himself so he can get around some of the range resist fights, and of course having the opportunity to dispel or remove debuffs from the party. Those are all huge things, guys. So
yeah,
it's not gross to tell other people
you should know.
They are newer to potentially pity Mog. Veterans might need to take a second think about it. Okay.
No, as I'm learning from playing Disgaea RPG, the company that does that is telling content creators, why are you telling people to skip these banners? You should tell people to pull all the banners. So let me remind you from our sponsor, Squex, that you should pull on all the banners like I do and enjoy all the characters. They all have so much to offer. Some people are saying, it really hurts Mog that he doesn't enchant the party. I mean, I think, obviously it would be nicer if he enchanted the party. But as Pikachu said, is he does a framed imperil for lightning and water. And so you can pair him with water enchanters, party water enchanters, Garnet, Rydia, when they come back into fashion, whenever that is. And he does offer that nice framed imperil. So if you want to pair him with other water damage dealers as well. So, yeah. Or even non-water damage dealers with Rydia stuff. So, yeah. Necklord, what are your thoughts on...
well, he's rolled his 30% chance to inflict confuse on me. I'm just like... I just don't know, man, with this guy. Like, he does a lot of shit, right? That's fair, but it's just what's going on here? Water, right? Okay, it's fine. Characters can have an element, and then for no reason, a follow-up on his LD does thunder too. So what? Like, why is this even a thing? I mean, sure, do varied kits and stuff, but it just seems a bit strange. And then that is the basis of him imperiling both thunder and water. Just it's not that it's bad or good or anything. It's just strange to me. But I remember going through when I first went through this infographic. I don't actually have an interest in pulling him at all because again I went all in on Terra first thing. But I saw the whole if any debuff on your party, if no debuffs on party stuff, and I was like, wait, oh no, conditionals. But that isn't actually too bad because generally you'll get hit. It will be annoying actually when you're using him if you get hit with one debuff, right? Because that fulfills the condition for his follow-up, and then he does the cleanse one, because you may want to continually roll at the confuse debuff if you're bringing him for that purpose.
Yeah, just to interrupt you for a second, Plasma does do lightning damage to in Final Fantasy VI. So, so
they've made this weird interaction to make it friendly. Yeah. Well, not lore friendly, I should say.
Yes,
which is fair enough. They were doing that at the start of the game, and that generally just made characters trash. So, good thing it doesn't do it this time per se. But yes, where was I? I've now lost my train of thought.
I apologize.
Goodness. Where was I? Don't know. I'm lost. Someone saved me now.
You're not a real fan of Final Fantasy VI because you didn't pull, and hoarding is a disease.
Right, I'll tell you, not pulling Mog makes it.
Why don't you just?
It makes it true to my traditional Final Fantasy VI run. Because the only reason I use this guy, I give him the Moogle charm so I don't get any encounters, and I go up that fucking annoying magic tower straight to the top. Like, fuck the encounters. I go straight to that boss, who then wipes me because I forget to put life 3 on at the end of the fight because he throws the ultimate out when he dies. But yeah, that's completely unrelated to Defo, of course. But there we are.
Yeah. So I would just throw 20 tickets out on the banner right now and see what happens. Maybe some magic will happen, and you can take Mog home and have a great healer, battery, support, cleanser, because we don't have any of those. I assume you also have Deuce, and no one will ever no. So Inkwelder says, to be fair, Inkwelder says, Mog does hit a lot of different orb coverage for Lufania, which is nice. And there are fairly frequent runs with Mog moving forward in Lufania's in the coming months, including, I think, Transcendence Tier 4. So he's not a terrible. Yeah, and as Daniel says, he may play a role in Abyss. We will see here in a few days, in almost a week, actually. But may be okay to skip. Cedar, what are your Mog thoughts?
I've personally been enjoying him. Like, I forgot to mention too that I did go through like future Lufania events, and there aren't many of them that like resist water, or there's only 2 of them that would resist water and 2 of them that would resist confused. There's like a handful of them that resist any elemental resist down, so that might hinder his damage a lot. But it's not like he enchants the party, so it's not gonna matter anyway. But yeah, I think he's just a really good unit for. He's really gonna be a good 3rd slot in your party. You're gonna have to have a good damage dealer to carry him through, and if he deals with the orb, then you might be able to get 2 damage dealers because he can heal. That's all I have to say about him.
He is so soft. Well, all of you feel the same way because 7 people across 10 servers, and thank you to Quetzalma of MateriaBot fame for setting up the pod pack. Oh, fuck me. Thank you to Quetz, the creator of MateriaBot, for setting up the podcast polls. And you can go to podcast polls on our Discord and vote how you are approaching these banners. Across 10 servers, we see 7 people willing to pity Terra's BT on this banner. This is the final banner of Terra's cycle. 12 people going to pity the LD, 3 using gems, 61 tickets, and 79 skipping. So, a lot of people. Did you? Yes, J Dota, as J.A says, did you mention what Ink said about every Lufania? Yes, there is Mog runs. So I'm not really sure that Mog isn't being carried in quite a few of those runs. So there you go. Does that mean Mog is meta? No, I don't think so. I think there are lots of different options that probably could fit in there, but he does have a nice wide coverage. So there you go. But yeah, you can definitely play your favorites, and if you like Mog, it's a great unit. You're not going to have any problems there. So let's go back to the story chapter. The second half, we talked in fairly good detail last time about the first half of our story. So spoilers if you haven't finished the story chapter. Arrow, does Locke get redeemed?
Not at Oh my God. Okay, guys, I'm going to rant. Okay, I got a lot I wrote about this chapter, so hopefully you'll bear with me. Locke leaving Celeste, we're gonna say it right now, was 100% pointless. Like, literally, they did this, and all it does is make Locke look like a terrible shit lord. I can't put it any more nicely than that. It's terrible. I know for you Locke fans. For me, I don't care because I hate this character. But I mean, if I were a fan, I would be so many levels of pissed off. Like, what did they do? So hold on now. Not only did he abandon a girl he said he would stick by and protect, and his memories weren't gone on this one, but he also abandoned a freaking child almost to his own devices with Vaughn. Like, I know Vaughn's like 17, like maybe 18, but he's practically like not exactly the most mature kid in the, the freaking like DeFoO cast. Okay, let's be real. And like, Locke acting like Van doesn't know how to be a treasure hunter was just like, wow, okay. But anyway, so not even that. So not even much had to be changed for this Locke subplot to potentially work. Couldn't he have found like, I don't know, another copy of like that Phoenix Magicite or something? And then it's like maybe like a fake and he feels like empty when he finds it. I don't know. And then maybe starts reflecting on how he's been treating everyone. Maybe that could have been nice. And then, maybe Vaughn shows up and he kind of like cheers Locke up and says, "Hey, buck up, man! I got a compass. We can go and meet up with everybody, and you can say sorry or whatever." No, they didn't do that. So instead, it's like all they did was make Locke look bad, and it makes his whole wandering around look stupid. He could have just stayed with the party. It's like I said, the whole horror movie plot. If it had been a horror movie plot, Locke would have been eaten by the monster. Okay, let's just be real. Nothing good to say. Oh my gosh. My other favorite part is Vaughn basically tells him to stop sulking, right? Like, and I just read that as, Locke, stop being a bitch, okay? It's freaking Vaughn telling you this. That's bad. Anyway, let's get to the good. All the extra subplot stuff going on in this chapter is great. Mog and Arden, great stuff. Arden's storyline, especially good, especially those scenes with A Lot of Darkness. Realm and Strago, they were great. Tara, and the Mog hugging, that's wonderful. But here's my question. Why do they not do stuff like this more often between the characters? It's clear they have the ability to make the models be able to interact more with one another other than just standing there and nodding their heads and shaking their arms and stuff. And that really hurts, guys. I really wish they would do more stuff like the whole Mog and Tara thing that they did. Missed opportunity, by the way, when Locke and Celeste see each other again. They could have grabbed each other's hands, for example. They didn't do that. They even made it look like they were going to do that. And then they just stand and look at each other and go, "I missed you. I missed you too." And I was like, why don't they just like grab each other's hands? Show me something. Anyway, FF12, they played their parts well. Every character was fantastic and on point. I have absolutely no complaints. Ash teaming up with Shadow, great stuff. Balthier being Balthier. Guys, somehow always comes across written to me that he is cynically aware he is not the leading man in DeFoO. And he just is, he kind of almost meta breaks the wall sometimes to me when they write some of his lines. Like, he is aware he is a video game character, guys. Watch out. Anyway, and I find everything he says much more entertaining reading him this way. Did I have anything else? Let me check.
You let me know.
Okay, no, I have nothing else. But this chapter, I've been debating, is it worse than that chapter, Arc 2, with FF14 and 11? The 14 bits were so bad there, but I remember the 11 bits being so good. The thing is, though, guys, I've never played the MMOs, so I have no skin in that game. But I have a lot more to pick on here because I've played 6 many a time. In fact, Final Fantasy 6 and Final Fantasy Mystic Quest were like, I don't remember which one of them I played first. That's how closely together I played them. So one of them was my first. I just can't remember which one. So, I was a kid. I was like 8 years old or so, and this was one of my first Final Fantasies. So I got the nostalgia glasses on, and I gotta say, they dropped the ball. They really did. Like, they just did not care about these characters. I hate it. I hate it so much. It is so clear. Whoever wrote this chapter needed some other people to read through it and not make it less stupid, because Locke's whole point of running off felt so dumb and like didn't even need to happen.
So
They did nothing with it.
You know, I don't know if we talked about it last week or if we were talking about it in another time or we were doing on the post show. But, you know, Celeste and Locke's bullshit makes total sense to me as an adult because Celeste is 18 years old. And so she's acting like an 18-year-old. And Locke is 25, and he's acting like a 25-year-old. I mean, it makes perfect. It's not important. It's complete. As I think Pikachu said in chat, this story chapter is about them finding an airship. I want to come back to that in a second. But the Locke Celeste thing is just like, yeah, they're idiots. They're, you know, every 25-year-old man. Nick Lord's like 16. But you're 25. You're stupid. 18-year-olds are stupid. I mean, they are emotional and hormonal and do stupid things and over dramatic, right? And that it makes perfect sense. I'm going to go do this. My favorite part of the story was Vaughn, however, being like, it's that classic, I need to do, Locke, I need to do this alone. Okay, let's go. I'm going to do this alone. Great. When are we leaving? I'm going to, okay, let's do it. The faster we get going, the faster you can do it alone. So yeah, I did appreciate Vaughn's just complete obliviousness. Vaughn's such an idiot anyway, even though this Vaughn has all his memories, so he's older, right? But yeah, complete idiot. He's like, yeah, let's do it. I understand you want to be alone. Come on, we're going to go do this. And so I actually took that as like Vaughn's coming from an older brother mentor position, being like, yeah, you're some stupid 25-year-old. I get it. You don't have your memories back. You're not an adult yet. So let's go and you be alone and we'll go actually do what you need to do here and get it over there. So yeah, Celeste being a general says more about the Empire than it does about her. Minos Pilkid says, and I agree. I think there may have been some issues in that particular empire. So I have a lot more I could say, but Necklord, I know you don't read any of the stories, but I bet you have some opinions about.
My biggest mistake was watching the part 1 cutscenes, and then I vowed to just not watch any of part 2 after that, because I mean, if there was a twist at the end and the reason Locke wandered off was like because he was looking for his LD or something,
yeah,
it would have been a great meta twist to the story where they actually acknowledge, we do need these weapons, they're self-conscious about it, something like that would have been funny. But no, we just have some nonsense melodrama and okay, they get an airship. I guess that's like the gist of it, because I just skipped all of part 2. I can't torture myself like that. I will say though, there is a bit of a silver lining, because I don't know if anyone noticed, in the first part there was a little typo when they brought up Strago. He was just for some reason referred to as Stragos. Like just threw the S at the end there.
Yeah,
bit of a typo. And this brings me to something else, because one of my favorite pastimes is venturing into main chord, looking at the feedback section when a new chapter comes out, because these guys love looking for typos. They love it. It's like a pastime for them. Littered, of course, with the occasional, what the fuck, Squex? I pulled 10 tickets and didn't get anything. Explain yourselves. Like, there's the occasional post about that, which gets deleted. But anyway, but bring ourselves to part 2, and someone found the same error, the same thing. Stragos appeared in both parts.
Yeah.
Despite the first one being flagged, they didn't think to check. Maybe Stragos has appeared somewhere else. We should hunt Stragos down and remove him.
Well, being from the UK, you have a lot of meat pie dishes. Isn't beef Stragos a very popular dish in the United Kingdom?
I can't say I've heard of beef Stragos as a dish, I'm not going to lie. But yes, we do love our pastries.
Yes, delicious meat-filled pie. Now, Cedar, I have a question for you. What the hell is with the shape of the new airship? What's going on there? Am I the only one concerned about this? What are your thoughts?
No, just like this whole story, like I'm wondering if it was like bring your kid to work day and like their teenage daughter wanted to be involved in this whole story chapter. I just don't know what they're doing. I'm not even reading it, but just based on what everybody's been saying, I'm just shaking my head.
Soraya, we've gone the entire episode without any Deuce jokes. I think we can at least have one penis joke. Come on. Just one. That's all I ask. Just one. Does the ship look like something?
They tried to make it look like the Falcon in FF6,
yes,
right? But
correct.
The Falcon was not that smooth. It was not.
Yeah, let me see if I can pull up an image of the Falcon in Final Fantasy VI just to give myself. Yeah, let me do actually Final Fantasy VI because there's Falcon 6 is a whole different thing. Wow. No, I mean it. Yeah, it does. Yeah, you get the in the game you get it from the side. Oh, in Final Fantasy XIV they have some nice art of it, and there's a Falcon mount that looks really nice. The Falcon mount in Final Fantasy XIV looks really nice, and so yeah, you get a little bit better image of it. It looks weird coming at the angle it's coming at. So from Final Fantasy VI you get it from a side angle, which it kind of looks more like a blimp, right? Or yeah, I mean, it's kind of the blimp airship, right? I'm thinking of it's the Falcon that you see in one of the remake or not remake, but the Game Boy Advanced or the little cutscenes they did. You know what I'm talking about? The edits, the cinematic introduction that they did for one of the ports. I forget if it was on the Game Boy Advance or PlayStation. So, yeah. What drink do they serve on the Falcon? The Falcon Punch. Yeah, that's true. I've been making a lot of Falcon Punch jokes during the watching of Captain Falcon and Winter Soldier. Excuse me. So, yeah. So I appreciate Falcon Punch jokes. Anything else about the story? It is what it is. I don't recall. I want to talk about Mog and Terra for a second. I don't recall it being as weird as it seemed in Defo in Final Fantasy VI.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know where that came from.
It seemed a little weirder than it ever did, and then and it wouldn't have been weird if it was just like when Terra and Mog came together and they hugged. I mean, that was beautiful. But then they redid it in the end, and then Shadow's like, "Yep." That's our Mog. And it was just like a little, like it was like, what's going on? Is this some yeah, I'm not really sure. I'm not really sure what's happening.
Yeah, Mino's correctly identified where it started was, I think, the PSP Dissidias. There were a few jokey sort of scenes, I think, involving it, where she's obsessed with Moogles, but it isn't the FF6 Mog. Like what they're doing is just a disgrace. You can't just write over relationships like that and just make it a meme from another PSP game. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it was a little creepy. Or I mean, I feel like, it's not like the same. I mean, like I love animals, right? And if I see a bunny rabbit, I'll be like, oh man, that bunny rabbit's really cute. Or like a cat, like a big furry cat. Like one of my favorite breeds of cat is the Norwegian forest cat. Have you ever seen a Norwegian forest cat? They're kind of like Maine Coons, so they're beautiful, beautiful cats, but they're just big poofs of hair. And I would happily go take a Norwegian forest cat, pick it up, and give it a big hug. I don't think the Norwegian forest cat would appreciate it. Like, I mean, I have cats. I don't own them. I mean, I adopted them, I guess. I rescued them. They live in my house. So, I pick them up. They don't like it. Like, they're cats. They don't want to be lifted up in the air, right? They want to be on the ground. I don't think like the cat's like, oh, yay. And yeah, so it gave me, maybe what the Dissidia Opera Omnia Mog Terra thing kind of gave me from the Moogle perspective, like Cone from Bleach. He was a stuffed animal. He's a mod soul in a little stuffed animal, and so I kind of got that weird vibe from him, and that's weird. Yeah, so I don't appreciate that, or I do. I don't know. Either way, Mog's adorable, and Lufania is great. So Cedar. Everyone from Canada is related. I thought, isn't that how life works?
We are just very, very close.
Yeah. When you're here, you're family. That's the motto of Canada, right? Or am I thinking of somewhere else? All right, Cone. Cone was, that's 100%. Oh, there's fights in this. And there's co-ops. Make sure you do your co-ops. There's a chaos. So there's some new enemy types in this. If you're playing along at home, there's some new enemy types. The first time I saw it, I'm like, wow, that's horrific. Oddly enough, it's called a skeletal horror. And it is part human, part horse, part winged creature. It's like a humanoid Pegasus skeleton monster. They're horrible mobs. They don't do anything because they're mobs and you just kill them. But they look horrifying. And you're in a tomb. And Daryl's tomb, and it's horrible. And then you had the zombie king or zombie lord. Is it zombie lord? And you fight that in the chaos fight. That's your challenge quest. You have to do a zombie lord and then 2 mini zombie lords. I don't quite understand how the mechanics of this work. You have to drop the 2 mobs, the 2 little zombie lords, to 1% of their health. And then they literally drop. They fall to the floor. And they have to be dropped for you to kill the boss. But they regenerate, and then he regenerates several times. And I'm not really sure any rhyme or reason to it. And so that's just a pain in the butt for a chaos fight and a challenge quest. Anybody have any more insight in the trick behind that or why it does it when it does it? But that's a new enemy type. Fun. I thought actually that could have been an interesting Lufania mechanic because I know obviously zombies are hard to kill. They never die. Why won't you die? I mean, that's what I felt like, right? But I'm not really sure. If the ad is alive and the boss dies, the main boss revives. So, I don't know. It's in Transcendence. Oh yeah, that's going to be great. That's going to be, look forward to that in the future, kids, because you're going to have to deal with that in Lufania. Woohoo! Thank you. That's exciting. So we'll hold on to that thought. We'll come back to that in a couple months when we're going to be really pissed. So hopefully we'll figure out actually what happens and how it does, because I certainly couldn't figure it out. But there's a Lufanian. It's a Dullahan. In chat, let me know, is he in a cart or a chariot? Chat, cart or chariot? What's your opinion? Cart or chariot? I can never really tell. Is it a cart or is it a chariot? Cart or chariot?
You've got to go with chariot, surely.
It's a chariot. Everybody's chariot. It's a cartiot. Cartiot. Yes, from the chariots. Chat, should I purple my Yuffie? Kyrie, let me tell you this little story. I brought my Yuffie with nothing equipped besides your skill 2. And nothing of use on her, even though I have all of her boards mastered. I forgot to put all of that together, and I didn't even have her skills equipped or her galls equipped, and she worked just fine. So we'll get to that in a second. So if you don't have the ingots, don't purple your Yuffie. If you do have some extra ingots laying around, purple your Yuffie. She deserves it. She's putting in a lot of work. She's a good girl. So props to Yufs. So there is a Lufania. And you fight the chariot riding skeleton, Dullahan. New boss type. Super fun. Classic Final Fantasy villain. Like that a lot in the tomb. He has a Lufania orb. Again, you can go to DissidiaFFOO.com. DD Rocks did a little nice quick start write-up. Lufania notes on TonberryTroupe.com as well. Starts at 20, disappears at 79%. Reappears at 49%, does not disappear. It increases by 7 when the boss takes water damage, water brave damage. You need to do water damage. Bring water damage. Here's a tip. Rydia's call, which is, of course, just her regular skill call. It's not she doesn't have an LD. Enchants the party with water for 4 turns. So even if, you put Rydia's call on somebody who, is real slow, and you'll have water chant for a while. Just don't put it on Terra, right? Or lightning. Put it on, somebody who's not going to take any turns, like Deuce. Deuce is slow and doesn't do anything, and so she's a great person to put that on. Or Mog, because he doesn't enchant the party either. So that is one thing to think about if you actually want to play this fight. We'll get to the other reason too. A couple boss gimmicks, just so you all know if you actually want to fight this fight. The recast ability is when the bar is full before you get a turn, cleanses debuffs, dispels 1 buff from all allies, inflicts framed HP poison, stabs you for good measure, ignores brave damage reduction. You need a lot of healing. If you take that, it starts out with AoE HP attack, debuff, and then framed HP poison, which sucks. I think it's 4 turns, so it's a good chunk of HP poison. So yeah, it's not nice. Like, it's considerable at 30% maybe HP poison. Yeah, 30% for Retractor saying. So it's significant. Then he has Northern Cross. So at 79% and 49%, the next all attack, if not stun, will freeze your party. Just like in the game, Northern Cross. And like Shiva, also in Defo. And it's awful because you lose a turn. So don't let them do that. That would be how you deal with that. Brave damage reduction is ignored on basically everything. He can dispel 1 buff from all allies and inflict a buff that delays you after you take an action. Awful. Every action deals extra damage to debuff targets. So cleanse is super important. Guess who has cleanse? Mog. Of course he does. One of the basic brave attacks inflicts 3 generic debuffs, which push off any generic buffs you may have. So yeah, that's how, if you need to deal with all that crap if you actually want to play the fight. Of course, the hero of the hour is Yuffie, because she don't want this, so she can take that first attack. Now, you actually need to have her built up a little bit, or she will actually die. But you don't need anything but her skill too. She just needs enough HP to actually survive the first AoE attack. And she will get that, and she can throw that right on the boss, and it will nearly kill the boss. You still need to have a little bit of damage, but, so you can bring a friend or a call on Yuffie if you want to solo, because you're cool. She can solo it. You can bring other friends to it, would be fine. Yeah, she basically kills him because he does 30% HP damage to himself for 4 turns, and then he's dead. And then you just do some brave damage or HP damage, and he's done. But there are other ways to do it. So you can bring synergy. There's a lot of people going, I didn't use Yuffie, but they brought Mog. Well, obviously, if you bring synergy, I brought Terra and Mog, and yeah, congratulations, you brought synergy to an event that, yeah, that's called synergy stomping. So listen, I just want to go on a little tangent here about the Yuffie cheese. First of all, there's no cheating in this game. There's no cheating in this game. The only way to cheat in Defo is to break your phone or break the game data. So if you're not doing that, you're not cheating. This is not a bug. This is what Yuffie does. Yuffie is a cheese character. That's her thing. And so when she works really well. It's not cheating. That's her. That is her kit. Using lightning, it's not cheating. She's just super powerful. Using launch meta, it's not cheating. It's part of the game. Using synergy, it's not cheating. It's just synergy stomping. Now, you don't get to write a dissertation on Reddit about how cool you are because you did any of that stuff, right? But it's not cheating. It's PvE. There's no trophy for who does the best of the thing, right? Sometimes we do a TCC challenge and we shout you out and say, hey, you're cool. Great. Good job. That was really creative. And we encourage each other and lift each other up. That's what we do. But, you ain't winning any awards because I didn't bring Yuffie. No, who cares? Bring Yuffie. No one's going to make you feel bad if you didn't bring Yuffie, and they're idiots. Tell them to go fuck themselves. Who cares? Bring Yuffie. Why take time out of your life to do something stupid like deal with this boss's bullshit? No, just bring Yuffie. You got some free time, then hey, go back and do some other things. And many of our friends did. I think Strafe brought full non-synergy, Paladin, Cecil, Lightning, and someone else, our friend Strafe. Several other people brought several other creative, very, very creative runs without synergy, without Yuffie. So it can be done. There's all kinds of different ways it can be done. But don't feel bad. You want to do it the way you do it. Who cares? People are on Facebook being stupid. People are on Discord being stupid. People on our Discord being stupid. They get shut down real quick. Obviously, other Discords may not be that way. People on Reddit being stupid, whatever. But listen, you don't get to throw yourself a party because you beat Lufania some way, right? You can celebrate if you did really creative, but if you brought synergy, you're not creative. In my mind, there's no difference between bringing synergy and bringing Yuffie. That's just a way to get through the content soup super easy, right? Arrow, I brought Yuffie and Waka. What do you think of that? Waka meta.
Very, very
I even recorded it, and then I recorded the final scene, and I think I'm going to do voiceover. So Arrow, how did you approach this?
I have no time, so I don't really feel like trying to figure this out. I did the Yuffie cheese. I don't even care. They kept it in. They had the chance to change it and then chose not to.
Yeah,
So,
no, to be fair, like this is not a mistake from the devs, right?
No, it's
Because they intentionally make bosses immune to their own debuffs frequently for this very reason. Every once in a while, they throw Yuffie a bone. So let her shine every once in a while. Let her shine.
I used Yuffie with Arciella, so I just threw the debuff back and then overwrote some of Yuffie's debuffs with Arciella's HP silence, so that I just, killed off the rest with those calls. Like, I don't know, use something like Kuja or his Squall, and then just you can get through the rest of that HP at that 1% mark, and bam, you won. Yeah. But you could even do this with, if you're really, really cheap, you could also use Kefka with his 15 CP and then just bring a third who might be able to do enough damage just to knock out that last percent. So there are ways to just get around this without needing all that much, because the only other thing you need for the cheese is a Yuffie 35 CP. So Kefka 15 CP you get for free from his Lost Chapter. And you can get Yuffie's 35 CP from the weapon shop. And we did have a banner with her, like a month ago or two?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't remember when she got level 80. But whenever she got level 80, she had a banner again. And
you don't need her weapon. I don't believe you need her weapon.
You don't even need her 35
yeah.
CP.
Because I did not have anything equipped on my Yuffie. It was a blue skill. First of all, Strafe, thank you for the subscription. Strafe says Yuffie isn't cheese, but Waka is. Very true. Waka confused. Waka confused, and I only reset 6 times. Waka confused. I didn't at all. Waka confused the boss. That was great. We have to stop because Hey, I'm Kyrie just has a Q&A question. Hey, I'm Kyrie says, sorry, I'm kind of new to the game. How is Yuffie cheesing the fight? So, Kyrie, so you know, this is the mechanic of Yuffie. Again, you don't need any weapons. Obviously, if you have her 35 CP, it gives you more debuffs, but you don't need it. It gives more debuffs to the turn. I literally had a blue Yuffie skill, and I'm going to upload my run just so you know, because I didn't have anything equipped on Yuffie for some reason. I don't know why. I have her fully limit broke. I have all of her crap. It was literally Brave Attack. It was just HP, Brave Attack, HP Attack, Skill 2, and it was all blue. So her Skill 2 is, I don't want this. And so if she has a buff on her, a red debuff on her, she can throw that back at the boss. So this boss, the very first action, puts a debuff on your party that does HP poison. 30% of your HP is gone every turn. She can immediately throw that back on the boss. He has a ton of HP. It does 30% of his HP every single turn until he gets to 1%. Then you need to do HP attack, and he's dead. All you need is Yuffie, and you only need her limit. You need her, built up enough to survive that first AoE HP attack, which is not very tough. So again, her skill 2 throws back 1 debuff. You do not need the 35. You do not need her EX. You do not need her 15. Her 15 is garbage anyway. You need her to be level 80. And if you've never, friends, hey, if you've never beaten a Lufania, Yuffie's good on this Luffy. That's terrible. I hate Luffy. Yuffie is a chapter character. You just need to you get her up to level 80. You build her up a little. You level her up. Crystal strength her up. She should be run her through a few boards. She should have enough HP to survive it. Maybe give her some armor. And as long as she can survive that first attack, she can throw it back, throw some other people on your team who can heal, who can do actual damage, who can do water damage. You can just do it with calls. You can bring a friend Terra. You can actually just do Yuffie with her without anything. It's 4 turns. Her debuff, when she throws it back without anything on her, it's 4 turns. So after the 4 turns, you can have a friend Terra and burst and kill it, basically.
Yeah. You need not just Yuffie, but you need something to also keep the boss from HP attacking. So, we got options. Our 35 CP.
Waka.
If you are that cheap, get Kefka's free 15 CP from his Lost chapter, and there you go. You have an HP silence that you can use that will be guaranteed to you. So you don't even need much. But anyway, I'm not going to brag because honestly, I'm not going to record it. Everybody else and their mom's already going to record it. I will eventually come back to this with one of those, much more honest teams that take a little bit more time and really go through the fight. I have plans to also do that with Kieran's Lost chapter because, again, I haven't done that recording. I've been working way too much to even think about it, but I do want to do that because I think it's fun to go back and when you have some power creep on some of these really awful fights that I was getting actually really stressed. I remember back in the day with Kieran, so with Kieran's Lost chapter, but I didn't get stressed out when I did it, with power creep, and that's okay, guys. Just remember that for every Lufenia. But if there's some way to get around the fight in maybe an unintended way, don't sit there and tell everybody, look at me. I just zero-turned it, or I just beat this boss and he didn't get to do a thing. Cool, I guess, but there's people who do struggle actually, and they do have, what would be considered the meta characters to have for the fight, and they still struggle to win it. You look like an asshole to them, by the way. And I mean, yeah, you could always say, oh, just get good. Okay. But you still sound like, like that mean kid in the playground who, was really good at sports, but acted like a dick about it. You're that guy, but with video games. So do you really want to be that guy? You probably remember that guy. If you were a nerd, you got bullied by that guy. You hated that guy. Don't be that guy. Okay. That's my thoughts on it. And does anyone else have anything to say about this Lufenia? Because I don't.
Yeah, you don't. Go ahead. Go ahead, Nick.
I think all the ground's been covered, but I'd just personally like to thank Square Enix for reviving my Cyan saga with this quest.
Nice.
A great excuse to bring him out. Love to see it. I mean, he can even serve some practical value. Maybe it lasts long enough for him to cleanse the rest of the debuffs. But yeah.
Yeah, Dab, are you saying that you've tried it 6 times and you've not been able to figure it out with Yuffie? Because, yeah, I mean, you probably need some other characters along with you to help. But, again, some people suggested Paladin Cecil, Hope for overheals, obviously Mog, Deuce. There's a lot of different Freya. Yeah, Freya. Good is a great option there, actually. Anybody with Last Stand. So, yeah. Theodore. But lots of different characters should be able to work. Tank, yeah, any of our tanks should be fine. Yeah, it should be tough. Should be very doable for sure. Cedar, any thoughts on this?
The only things I really wanted to add is when I was looking up different runs. Well, for one, I had to Yuffie cheese it. I've tried different runs and they just weren't working. when I was researching what like other people's successful runs, a lot of them would just wait out that debuff and just never give the boss a turn, either through HP Silence or Elnarsh's Terror.
Yes.
I don't know if I've seen any Paralyze, if somebody's brought like Cloud to paralyze them or something, but he's not immune to it. But one person that I wanted to shout out that I thought was a really cool concept was Snoopball PH and Ninong MP8. What they basically did was, as soon as the boss went past the 80% threshold and the Lufenia orb was gone, they did a little prep up where they had a friend Sephiroth in his burst phase, and then they used Jack to just HP plus the whole fight. Because the dual hand does not delay after he gets broken, Jack would just continuously do HP plus.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I forget Jack has that ability to cheese some things.
Yeah, and it was around like the 60 turn count where they finally summoned their Leviathan and just destroyed that last 20% of the boss's health. I found it was an interesting one personally.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, there are actually several workarounds besides using Yuffie, but unless you have some extra time and are just looking to play the game a little bit more, you certainly don't have to feel bad about it. And if you have never been to Lufenia before and have Yuffie, then yeah. So Arthur's saying the issue I had was the boss was getting to act back to back, so it did an AoE and then killed Yuffie on the next turn. That can happen. Missed Yuffie and then was good to go. So yep, there you go. You can take it 2 times, do that. Again, your Yuffie has to survive it, so that can be an issue if your Yuffie is not built up at all. Ramu Paralyze is great for that. You could bring Alexander to get that healing too, or some other things that trigger. So give yourself a little bit extra help there. But yeah, you can also just retry it because you have Shiva and Ramu to give you the evasion. So if you reset enough times, she will dodge it. Or find some characters who are a little faster, so I can get ahead and do a call or something like that. So there should be ways around it, but but bring any new character along with them. You don't have to do it solo. There's no difference between doing Yuffie by yourself and Yuffie with 2 other people, for sure. All right, well let's look at the questions. CSAM has a question. What's the highest single launch and burst phase damage you have managed in Lufenia? I have no idea. Anybody have a thought about their highest? Does anybody keep track of that? Who's on today?
Not really. I know I've hit around, I think, 3 mil before with Cloud. Or was it? Yeah, because, you can do that whole with launch with Kais, and you can get a lot of launches and if you're really special. But yeah, that would probably be one of them. Squall probably has one of the best. Oh, I almost forgot. Emperor, dude, that guy can get some insane numbers depending on setup. So those are probably the 3 with the highest damage for maybe Terra. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know about Terra because I don't have her BT, so no comment. But my highest has probably been with Cloud. You just get Kryl and Kais, and yeah, you're going to probably hit 3 mil somewhere in there right now. Yeah,
Pikachu is saying 800,000 with Emperor LD and launches and 2 BT effects. Dystopia Bard, 3.8 million with Cloud. I know the Dystopia guys do that a lot. CSAM, you can wait till Divine Alexander and Yuna's BT and just do unlimited turn BT phase. So I think it's 9 billion 990.
It's a lot of nines.
It's a lot of nines. It's either 9 billion or 999 million.
99 million.
999 million 999. Yeah. So, all the nines. So, yeah, you can find some videos on that. It's super fun. With the because it's based on the counterattacks. So, yeah, based on the counterattacks. Every time he moves, he counterattacks. But yeah, I don't particularly play around with that, but some people really do like to do that. Like I said, I know the Dystopia guys like to mess around with that. Apparently, Pikachu likes to mess around with that too. Daniel asks, will Sarah's GL First board rework finally put the nail in the coffin of the hopes of another GL First LD? Cedar, what are your thoughts on that? Are we done with GL First LDs?
I'd like to think that we're probably going to get at least one more GL First, because like there's 30 unannounced LDs in Japan right now. And that's like what, give or take 5 months of content for Japan if they don't speed it up. So I really think that would give us at least one more GL First, in my opinion. But I think moving forward, it's probably going to be more common to see board reworks than anything.
Remember, in chat, you can use your chat points to do a Q&A yourself and interrupt the stream always. Yeah, I think you're right. Cedar. Let's just go through another one. I'll just ask hosts different questions. Armadillo asks, what are you using your daily mark cactor tokens on? I was buying EX tokens, but recently noticed that I have 42 of those. It's me now here. With only 11 EX weapons missing in the shop, several of them which I will ticket in upcoming banners, because I'm also capped on tickets. Nice humble brag there, Green Armadillo. Necklord, what are you using your tickets for? Your tokens for? Cactar tokens.
Exclusively tickets at this point.
100%.
I did make sure that I have at least the ability to make one X token purchase should I need to. But yeah, it's just all tickets. I'm spending a shit ton of them these days. So
assuming I can get Deuce and Yang EX on Deuce's Deuce Dash, and they're both shit. So whatever. Dash's AX and Yang's EX. I think I have enough EX tokens to actually have all the EXs in the game. That's a humble brag. Arrow. Question for you. Why do you think Squex frequently features, this is from CSAM, features a character in an event that they're not actually suited for? I'm thinking Waka with Wave 3 of Boss Rush, requiring 3 or less debuffs. But Arciela could screw your orb in her event too. I'm sure there are other examples. Sometimes I feel like the devs don't even play the game. What are your thoughts about that, Arrow?
I thought Waka was great in Boss Rush. Because at most he does 2 debuffs. And in Boss Rush, you could probably completely ignore using skill 1 the whole time. Like, depending on your setup. Because, you're going to have a burst. And then you're going to have your summon. And then you're going to get, like, a zillion cast of skill 2. Like, what? You get, like, 9 of those? 10 of them? I think you 10 of them. Holy crap. And then that's on top of all the EX casts you're going to be doing. So yeah, he wasn't a problem. But I could understand why people felt in Arciela's that full dispel was problematic. See, in Beatrix's event, even though Shock does dispel all debuffs, those enemies were constantly rebuffing themselves on pretty much everything except maybe like one skill while the recast bar was charging. But in Arciela's event, I swear to God, they would go like 3-4 turns without buffing. And if you had removed all the buffs with Arciela, well, and they're not buffing themselves for a really long time, you could die to that orb if you weren't careful. And I could understand that because if I remember right as well on Arciela's, the count on the orb is actually lower than it was for Beatrix's. So it just is a compounding amount of things. What would have made the Arciela thing better is if it had a 20 orb count, because then at least when you would have dispelled, it would have gone maybe to like 20, and then you wouldn't have been such a big deal if they took a couple of extra turns to rebuff themselves. It was such a pain. And yeah, I think sometimes the featured character is fine, but what they do is they want you to not just be able to synergy stomp too easily. I'm trying to think of another fight where this happened. Gosh, and it's not coming to me right away.
Well, no, see, Sam, I think you're right. I think the devs don't play the game and don't have any understanding of it or our culture. So I think you're right onto something. And tell them, mail Squex and say, hey, get good. Start playing this game that you put content out. So I agree with you 100%. Necklord, now that Vincent proves to be very usable and Sarah's LD first redirk, beer me strength. And Sarah's LD...
You did say it was a long day, to be fair.
It was. Sarah's LD first rework is God level. Are we back to doing GL first equals pity?
I would still say no, and I would take issue with Vincent being proven as like amazing or whatever. Like, I mean, sure, he could be used in things, and people really did underrate qualities of his kit and his usability in certain scenarios. Probably I think the thing people probably slept on the most, which is understandable because it's not really a much used mechanic, is the stacking damage per debuff. We weren't sure if it was going to like bring him up to par in terms of brave damage, but it did. But yeah, where was I going with this? Yeah, no, I don't think that that's the rules. I don't think we're going back to that rule of GL first equals pity. I think we need some healthy skepticism from future GL firsts because they do try to pull a fast one with the marketing. So that Vincent costume was hype. I was tempted, even though he was sort of underwhelming. But so who's to say? They might try something with 7. They might save Mark from his inevitable forced pity under duress of subs. So who knows?
We are at 13 of 77. So we have a long way to go before I actually have to use gems. So we might be safe. Yeah, don't trust the system. Don't trust the man. Always hoard all of your resources and be skeptic. Don't pull. Very honestly, just let's stop joking for a second. The best advice is not to pull right away, always, right? So, it's never good to pity something on the first banner because you get a free daily ticket. You never know when you might get a burst on a free daily ticket. Or there's other banners. So, you shouldn't pity a burst anyway, but, chasing a burst on a first banner, usually not a great idea. It's always better to wait. Now, like this, we don't have free pulls for Terras. You're not pulling on anything else with Terra. Sure, go for Terra. But, hey, you still get a free daily ticket. Might as well wait it out, see what happens, etc. But 100% more with a GL first. Let people play with it. Let people use it. Never pity a burst unless you're gifted like 50 to 100 subs. Because then it becomes financially viable. No, that's still not financially viable. It lost a lot of tickets. So the devs do, this is infamous element, the devs do a pretty good job of incorporating characters into DeFo. Which character do you think they did the best? So I'll go round robin. Which character has been imported from their game, I believe that's where infamous element's going, into DeFo the best? Kit-wise, they match who they're supposed to be. Arrow?
Come back to me.
Necklord?
Off the top of my head, the obvious answer would be Alize, right? Because, what, you need some kind of bizarre flow chart to optimize her or whatever. So it's, very reminiscent of playing MMOs. So.
Yes.
So that's fair. That's the easy answer. I'll go hard mode. It's a bit of a. It's not really reminiscent of playing them because they're not playable in their game. But Seymour is very reminiscent of like the most annoying iteration of fighting him in 10, where he does the whole multiple actions of casting zombie on you and then Lance of Atrophy, which is one of his moves. And of course, that thematic ties into what his kit is currently now, where he does a bunch of follow-ups and meme shit like that. And to correct myself, he is playable very briefly.
Yes.
Forgot about that. But yeah, no, I would, from the top of my head, I'd go with Seymour. I'll think about it a bit more and throw it back to Arrow, who I'm sure has thought of a very thought-provoking and interesting answer.
Oh, I thought about it. And honestly, I gotta be real. I don't think it's perfect, but they got it pretty close with Mog because he's like a Dragoon Geomancer. And they captured that. Congratulations. The only thing you can't it's just the only thing they didn't do was when you dance in FF6, you can't control him anymore. He kind of just goes full auto. They didn't copy that part. But like the moveset and what like they do is pretty spot on. And honestly, I always played Mog as a Dragoon white mage and my playthrough of FF6. So hey, I even get that met with this kit. So cool. Congratulations, Mog. The other one I want to just give a quick honorable mention to is to Onion Knight, because the Sage and Ninja classes in the original Final Fantasy III were the basically the ultimate classes and like the only thing you would probably play at the end game anyway. So hats off to them for recognizing that. Anyone else want to answer?
Yeah, Cedar, you have one?
Yeah, my pick would definitely be Trey from Type 0. I'm sure the handful of people that actually played that game would say that when you play Trey in Type 0, you have to charge every single one of his skills. So that I feel like they implemented that very well into Defo. The other character I would like to kind of shout out is Porn, because she likes to cry a lot. That's what I'd like to say.
My pick, as we end tonight's show, my pick is Sid Reigns. I think they really captured the essence of Sid Reigns. I'm very excited. I'm a big Sid Reigns fan. When we finally get him in GL, I'll be very, very excited. First, easy pity. Always pull for favorites. That's all I have to say. Hey, looking ahead, May 12th, there's a raid event with Garland's, a mystery LDBT, and Sevens LD. So that's a big fat skip. May 18th, there's an Abyss with co-op. Maybe that's Iggy's banner. We don't know. May 20th, Desh LC with Yang LD. Remember, it doesn't really matter that it's Desh's LD. It's Yang's party. And May 24th, Dimensions End Transcendence Tier 2. And Ferris gets her LD as well. Thank you, Arrow. Thank you, Necklord. Thank you, Cedar. Thank you all hanging out with us all night. We'll stay around for the post show for a little bit. This has been episode 151 of the Crystal Chronicles, recorded on May 6, 2022. May all your Euphies be cheesy. May all your pulls be as good as mine. Until next time, friends, good luck. Goodbye.